Today, we will talk about adaptive leadership. Adaptive leadership is an approach that emphasizes how leaders help individuals and groups adapt to challenges and changes in their environments. It focuses on the behaviors of leaders in relation to their followers, contrasting with other leadership styles that center on leader characteristics. Introduced by Ronald Heifetz in his 1994 book Leadership Without Easy Answers, this framework highlights the role of leaders in facilitating productive change at various levels, from personal to societal. While adaptive leadership has gained recognition for its practical applications, much of the existing literature is based on anecdotal evidence rather than rigorous scientific research, leaving its theoretical foundations still developing. Heifetz and his colleagues aim to redefine leadership not as a savior solving problems, but as a facilitator who empowers individuals to confront and navigate difficult situations, thereby fostering adaptability in the face of inevitable change. Adaptive leadership, often perceived as leader-centric, is actually follower-centric, focusing on how leaders support individuals in adapting to challenges. It centers on facilitating change and adjustment to new situations, emphasizing the leader's role in guiding others through difficult problems. Heifetz and colleagues define adaptive leadership as mobilizing people to confront tough challenges effectively. Instead of leader traits, this approach highlights leader behaviors that motivate, organize, and guide others, encouraging exploration and change in values. The goal is to prompt individuals to learn new behaviors, address challenges, and grow. Adaptive leadership involves actions that help individuals navigate significant changes in their lives. The process incorporates 4 biases: systems, biological, service orientation, and psychotherapeutic, which explain and characterize adaptive leadership's nature. Systems bias views problems as intricate interactive systems. Biological bias acknowledges adaptation for thriving in new environments. Service orientation bias involves diagnosing and helping individuals, and psychotherapeutic bias parallels adaptive work to psychotherapy, emphasizing support, conflict resolution, and learning. Adaptive leaders play a crucial role in mobilizing and guiding individuals to address significant changes in their environments. Here are some scenarios where adaptive leadership would be beneficial. Student organization. As president of a student organization, you must mediate differing opinions on whether to include discussions about issues affecting women, guiding the group toward a resolution that respects all viewpoints. Company merger. Following a merger between 2 paper companies, tensions arise regarding job roles and pay structures. Leadership must unite employees from both companies to create a cohesive and functional work environment. Merit pay. In an engineering firm, younger engineers seek to change merit pay criteria by eliminating seniority, facing resistance from long-term employees. Management needs to address this conflict to maintain harmony and motivation within the workforce. Health and safety. As mayor during a COVID-19 outbreak linked to a local prison, you face public resistance to health measures. You need to persuade residents to comply with safety protocols despite their belief that the prison is solely responsible for the situation. In each case, adaptive leadership is essential for navigating complexities and fostering collaboration among diverse groups. Adaptive leadership, as conceptualized within complexity leadership theory, is a dynamic process that fosters learning, creativity, and adaptation in complex organizational systems. Unlike traditional leadership tied to individual actions, adaptive leadership emerges from social tensions and interactions, enabling groups to navigate change. It is a generative process rather than a fixed role, involving continuous leading following interactions that help organizations remain viable in evolving environments. As you see, the visual representation in this figure outlines the key components of adaptive leadership, illustrating how situational challenges, leader behaviors, and adaptive work interconnect. This model serves as a heuristic tool, aiding in the understanding of the adaptive leadership process and facilitating empirical research to verify and enhance the concepts and principles articulated within the model. We will discuss this model in some detail in the upcoming slides. In the realm of leadership, addressing situational challenges involves tackling three main types. Technical challenges, those with both technical and adaptive aspects, and primarily adaptive challenges. Technical challenges are well-defined issues with known solutions that can be resolved using existing organizational procedures. These problems can be handled by experts or individuals with a set of skills and procedures based on current knowledge. In instances of technical challenges, people typically seek a solution from a leader, accepting the leader's authority to resolve the issue. For example, if employees at a tax accounting firm encounter issues with new tax software, the manager can assess the problems, identify weaknesses, communicate with the software provider, and modify the programs to align with the accountant's requirements. In such cases, the problem is identifiable, a solution is attainable, and the manager holds the authority to address the issue within the organization's established frameworks, with employees relying on the manager to resolve the technical problem. Some challenges encompass both technical and adaptive dimensions. These challenges are clearly defined but lack straightforward solutions within the existing organizational framework. Addressing them requires shared responsibility between leaders and their teams. In these cases, leaders act as resources, providing support and guidance, while the individuals involved must engage in the work of adapting and changing. For example, consider an urban hospital that traditionally views providers as experts and patients as visitors. If the goal is to shift to a patient-centered culture, leadership must outline this goal clearly. They can offer in-service training to help staff learn how to involve patients more actively in their care. New policies could be introduced to respect patients' routines, grant them access to their medical records, and increase their control over treatment decisions. However, achieving this transition requires acceptance and active participation from staff, doctors, patients, and families. Making the hospital a model of patient-centered care demands significant effort and adaptation from all involved, highlighting the collaborative nature of addressing such challenges. Adaptive challenges are complex problems that are not easily defined or solved. Unlike technical challenges, they cannot be addressed solely through a leader's authority or established procedures. Instead, adaptive challenges require leaders to empower others to identify issues and develop solutions. These challenges are often met with resistance because they necessitate significant changes in people's priorities, beliefs, roles, and values. For example, a family facing the decision to place a parent in hospice care encounters various adaptive challenges. There is considerable uncertainty regarding the patient's impending death and how best to provide comfort. While hospice staff can offer support and guidance, it is ultimately up to the family to navigate their feelings about loss, prepare for the situation, and determine how to cope afterward. In this context, healthcare professionals act as leaders, helping families address their concerns and questions surrounding death. Effective communication, empathy, and support from hospice staff are crucial in guiding families through this complex and emotional process. In the context of adaptive leadership, 6 key leader behaviors are essential for effectively guiding others through challenges. These behaviors, based on the work of Heifetz and colleagues, provide a framework for leaders to help individuals confront difficult situations. While there is a general sequence for these behaviors, they often overlap and should be demonstrated simultaneously. Get on the balcony. This metaphorical behavior involves stepping back from the chaos to gain perspective on the situation. By observing from a distance, leaders can understand the broader dynamics at play, identify conflicts, and recognize dysfunctional reactions, allowing them to see the big picture and the relationships among various issues. Identify the adaptive challenge. Leaders must analyze challenges to distinguish between technical and adaptive issues. Misdiagnosing a challenge can lead to ineffective leadership. Adaptive challenges often involve emotional and value-driven changes that require collaboration and new coping strategies from everyone involved. Regulate distress. Leaders need to manage the level of stress experienced by individuals during change. While some distress can be motivating, excessive distress can be harmful. Leaders create a holding environment where people feel safe to tackle difficult issues without becoming overwhelmed. They also provide direction, protection, orientation, conflict management, and establish productive norms to help manage uncertainty. Provide direction, protection, orientation, conflict management, and productive norms. Leaders must clarify goals, monitor the pace of change, help individuals adapt to new roles, and manage conflicts constructively. Establishing positive norms is crucial for facilitating effective group dynamics. Regulate personal distress. Leaders must also manage their own stress levels, remaining strong and steady to support others. They should be role models, demonstrating the ability to handle conflict and uncertainty without losing their leadership identity. These behaviors collectively form a blueprint for adaptive leadership, enabling leaders to support individuals effectively during the complex and often emotional process of change. The 4th leader behavior in the adaptive leadership process is to maintain disciplined attention. This behavior entails encouraging individuals to focus on addressing challenging work that needs to be done, particularly when it involves changing beliefs, values, or behaviors. People often resist change, seeking equilibrium and balance in their daily experiences. Avoidance behaviors manifest in various ways, such as ignoring problems, blaming others, or pretending issues do not exist. The leader's role is to motivate and guide individuals to confront challenges directly rather than evade them. To illustrate this behavior, consider a scenario where a nursing home director supports a family grappling with the decision to move their elderly mother into nursing care. The children are hesitant about this transition despite recognizing its necessity. The director consistently listens to their concerns, arranges visits to the care facility, and facilitates discussions to help the family make informed decisions, guiding them through the adaptive process. Additionally, the leader must give the work back to the people, empowering individuals to actively participate in problem-solving and decision-making. By shifting the focus from directive leadership to shared responsibility, leaders enable individuals to define their goals and take ownership of their actions. The leader plays a supportive role, fostering autonomy and encouraging self-directed initiatives. Finally, leaders must protect leadership voices from below by valuing the input of marginalized or dissenting members within the group or organization. This behavior challenges the status quo, as it involves listening to diverse perspectives and giving voice to individuals who may not typically be heard. By recognizing and incorporating the ideas of all group members, including those with low status, leaders promote inclusivity, engagement, and effective collaboration within the group dynamic. Adaptive work is the central focus of adaptive leadership, representing the process towards which adaptive leaders guide their efforts. It involves the interaction between leaders and followers, but primarily entails the work of the followers themselves. Ideally conducted within a supportive holding environment, adaptive work allows individuals to address challenges related to their roles, priorities, and values in a safe space. The holding environment serves as the setting where adaptive work takes place, providing a platform for individuals to tackle the adaptive challenges they face. Leaders dedicate significant effort to establishing and maintaining this environment, recognizing its pivotal role in facilitating the adaptive process. In adaptive leadership, the term followers distinguishes individuals engaging in adaptive work from the leader. It is important to note that in this context, followers are not subordinate to the leader, but active participants in the adaptive process, collaborating with the leader to navigate challenges effectively. An example of adaptive work can be observed in various settings, such as a fitness center where individuals with health issues work with an instructor to adopt healthier lifestyles, or in a school where teachers resist new educational standards. In the school scenario, the principal creates a holding environment through open faculty meetings, allowing teachers to voice concerns and confront deeply held beliefs, supporting them in their adaptive work to transition to the new system effectively. Okay, now the question we have is, how does adaptive leadership work? Adaptive leadership is a multifaceted process encompassing various dimensions such as situational challenges, leader behaviors, and adaptive work. Unlike traditional leadership approaches focusing on leader traits, skills, behaviors, or authenticity, adaptive leadership emphasizes mobilizing individuals to engage in adaptive work, responding to changing environments with necessary adaptations and leader support. The process of adaptive leadership involves several key steps illustrated in this figure. Initially, leaders step back to understand complexities and interpersonal dynamics within challenging situations. Subsequently, leaders assess if challenges are technical or adaptive, addressing technical problems with authority and expertise while engaging in specific leader behaviors to navigate adaptive challenges. These behaviors, such as regulating distress, creating a holding environment, providing direction, and empowering individuals, are crucial for moving the adaptive process forward. An example of adaptive leadership in action can be seen in a university's response to freedom of speech controversies on campus, treating these issues as adaptive challenges. The administration engaged in behaviors like hosting forums, regulating distress, conducting surveys, and empowering stakeholders to lead conversations and drive change. This approach empowered students, staff, and faculty to address complex issues and foster positive campus culture. Another instance of adaptive leadership is evident in the response to the 2019 to 2020 coronavirus pandemic, where leaders at various levels had to make rapid decisions based on evolving circumstances and diverse sources of information. Adaptive leadership played a crucial role in navigating the uncertainties and complexities of the crisis, highlighting the importance of leaders engaging in behaviors that support followers in doing adaptive work. In essence, adaptive leadership is effective when leaders actively employ behaviors that facilitate adaptive work among followers, enabling individuals to confront challenges, adapt to changing circumstances, and drive meaningful change within organizations and communities. Adaptive leadership possesses several key strengths that distinguish it from other leadership theories. Process-oriented approach. Unlike traditional theories that focus on leader traits, adaptive leadership views leadership as a dynamic, transactional process between leaders and followers. This perspective highlights the mutual influence of leaders and followers, making leadership an interactive activity that involves multiple dimensions and activities. Leaders engage followers who are familiar with the challenges, recognizing that they do not have all the answers. Follower-centered, adaptive leadership emphasizes mobilizing individuals to engage in adaptive work. It is focused on follower growth and involvement, with leaders facilitating progress, regulating stress, and creating supportive environments for learning and adaptation. This approach prioritizes follower participation in implementing solutions. Addressing conflicting values. Adaptive leadership uniquely directs authority to help followers confront and adjust their values in response to change. It emphasizes the importance of navigating the tensions between innovation and the existing organizational mission, allowing followers to adapt to new ideas without resistance. Prescriptive guidance. The model provides practical prescriptions for leaders, outlining specific behaviors like get on the balcony, regulate distress, that facilitate adaptive work. It guides both leaders and followers on how to address technical and adaptive challenges effectively. Emphasis on collaboration. Adaptive leadership promotes a collaborative approach to problem solving, making it particularly relevant for complex organizational issues. It encourages networks of people and resources to work together to address challenges, rather than relying on a top-down directive. Holding environment concept. This theory introduces the idea of a holding environment, a safe space where followers can address difficult issues. Leaders are responsible for creating this environment, which can be physical, virtual, or relational, fostering open dialogue without allowing it to become overwhelming. Adaptive leadership, while strong in many areas, has several notable weaknesses. Lack of empirical research. Despite being conceptualized over 20 years ago, adaptive leadership has limited empirical research supporting its claims. Initial studies are emerging, but the framework is primarily based on ideas rather than established research, necessitating cautious interpretation of its principles. Need for conceptual refinement. The adaptive leadership process requires further clarification. While it offers practical prescriptions for leaders, the key factors and their interrelationships in facilitating adaptive work are not well defined. More comprehensive models are needed to illustrate these dynamics effectively. Abstract and wide-ranging nature. the approach can be seen as too broad, with numerous prescriptions that may overwhelm leaders. Recommendations often lack specificity, making it challenging to analyze or implement them consistently in practice. This vagueness can lead to varied interpretations of the intended behaviors. Potential discomfort for followers. Adaptive leadership encourages conflict resolution, which can be uncomfortable for followers. Although a holding environment is essential for voicing concerns, there is insufficient guidance on how to maintain safety within this environment. Followers may fear repercussions for questioning leadership. Unclear moral dimension. The framework implies a moral aspect related to the evolution of values and the common good, but it does not explicitly explain how adaptive work contributes to socially beneficial outcomes. While promoting values like justice and equality, the connection between adaptive work and achieving these ideals remains vague. Adaptive leadership is a versatile approach that can be applied to various real-life situations, both on an individual and organizational level. On a personal level, it offers a framework to identify and manage different types of challenges, technical versus adaptive, and can be integrated into leadership practices across diverse settings like family, school, work, and community. Organizations, particularly non-profits, faith-based groups, and healthcare, have used adaptive leadership to address challenges during change and growth. But in healthcare, adaptive leadership has shown promise in improving medical practice by viewing patients as complex adaptive systems facing both technical and adaptive challenges. Researchers suggest it can make healthcare more efficient, patient-centered, and sustainable. For instance, adaptive leadership has been used in family medicine residency programs to teach physicians skills like identifying adaptive challenges and regulating distress, which are essential for patient-centered care. It also helps physicians support patients in coping with health-related changes. Case studies highlight its effectiveness in helping patients and families navigate healthcare challenges, such as transitioning from curative to palliative care or making difficult decisions in intensive care settings. In fact, adaptive leadership has broad applications in personal, organizational, and research contexts, though further research is needed to fully validate its principles.
Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe to channel.